Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Bogey Proof. We got 3 of the 4 Bogey Proof staff here. We got Joseph, Matt, and Mike. Eric's on the sideline tonight, but we'll chime in with some of his picks and a couple things that he's prepared for us. But Joseph, what are you sipping on tonight?
Boys, I just got home from work, so my handy dandy water, was short on time, didn't have time to make a drink, but maybe next week. Fontaine, what do you got?
I'm with you. Water in one of the bigger yellow cups you'll ever see, but a nice glass of water.
Wow. So I'm the only one drinking tonight. So
alcoholic.
I feel a little bit. I don't feel.
I'm at the point where I'm counting down the days. Don't you worry. I'm counting down the days.
I don't feel great about myself, but my cocktail is pretty freaking good, so I'll deal with it. So drinking a little Knob Creek maple smoked.
Ooh.
Threw a couple cherries in there. Little sneak preview. There's some cherries involved in the Bogey Proof cocktail of the week. So picked up a couple things at the store for that. So be on the lookout for that Instagram post. But on the way to picking up some of those provisions and ingredients for that cocktail, I saw this Knob Creek and just caught my eye, and it tastes pretty good. So I'm excited about it. But Mr. Fontaine, anything big going on in the world of golf right now?
Unfortunately, there is. Tiger Woods has had another back surgery. All things went well. They obviously didn't leak it, before the surgery. It came out after the fact that he had it. Operation went well, expected to make a full recovery and all that fun stuff. It wasn't the most invasive back surgery he's ever had. Having a fusion of your back is pretty serious. It wasn't anything like that. It was a little bit more minor, but expects to make a full recovery and come back out on the tour. But I'm curious as to what your guys' thoughts are on how serious that is, if that's a sign of the end is coming closer, like this kind of resurgence we had is coming to an end a little sooner than we would have liked, or if it's got more of a positive twist on it that he's actually taking care of himself to maybe have a little more longevity.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the first question you always ask is he going to be able to play in April, right? We want to see him at Augusta. And I mean, when I first just saw the update, I wasn't sure how serious this really was. And, once you just explained, the severity of it and how it wasn't as big of a deal as people may make it out to seem it, I'm going to think on the positive side, no matter what, until he says, hey guys, I'm done. I'm going to have all the confidence in the world in him. So seeing it's not that serious it's a serious surgery, but it's not as severe as we thought it was. He's Tiger freaking Woods. He's going to come back and make it all work. So he knows he can compete with these guys, just making sure he keeps his bodies and his limbs loose and keeps the feels going. So it's not the end. It's not even close. And he's going to be there at Augusta National in April to compete, just like you expect him to. So Mike, what about you, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm on the same wavelength with you. I'm hoping and praying that he's there in April. I guess, Tiger Woods, though he's kind of been a little bit more open to the media and just like overall letting more people into his life, the last few years, I still think that he does a very good job of kind of holding back those injury talks. I, for one, had no idea that he was dealing with something that would require a surgery. But then again, I think, Fontaine, you hit on it, right? Like maybe it's one of those, it's a surgery, it's a minor surgery, going in there and scoping out and relieving some of the pressure on some of those discs. So maybe he's just taking care of himself, and this is the only way where he feels he's going to be able to compete at the highest level. Beforehand, maybe he thought he could compete on the PGA Tour, but that doesn't mean he's going to be in a position to win majors. And we all know at this point in Tiger's career, no tournament really matters outside of the majors. So glad that he's getting the surgery done, and hopefully he comes back strong. I'm wondering as if the reason why that back possibly is flaring up goes back to that initial players when you reach down to follow Kevin Na and pick that ball quickly out of the hole. I only say that because we watched Kevin Na win the Sony Open last week. Guy can golf his ball like that. I don't even know a better way to describe it. Like, he doesn't hit it that far. His short game's decent. He hits his irons well, but he just finds a way to like get it around the hole and knock it in.
When he gets that ball rolling, he can roll the rock.
He's a cocky son of a bitch too. Like he makes me want to go out there on the golf course and just believe in myself. Yeah. Like I just want to believe in myself more when I watch him play golf. Someone like him he's won like 4 or 5 times on tour the last few years, which is up there in the upper echelon, 5th or 6th when it comes to PGA Tour players in the last few years. So has really played some good golf. Matt, what was kind of your take on the golf this weekend?
Yeah, I love watching Kevin Na play well just because of how transparent he is now in his career. He was one of those guys that came over from Asia and really like skipped college and kind of got right into it. And, in his early years, he obviously had like those issues with the swing yips and being one of the slower players on tour and all that stuff. And he's kind of come around on that and really like, instead of, being defensive about it, he's been like, yeah, it was really tough for me. I don't know what to tell you, but he's now, come full circle on that in the last, I think 24 months, whatever it's been since like January 2018. I think he's got 4 wins, which is like you said, like 4th or 5th on tour. Like, but DJ's got 8 leading the way, and there's like he's tied with John Rahm, like really, really good players he's in that conversation with now. And he's also super candid about the whole like walking putts in and getting really cocky. He's like, I got to do that to convince myself I can compete. It's like a mental thing for me. He's like, if I don't play like that, I play like shit. So that's what you're going to get. Sorry if you don't like it, So I'm a big Kevin Na guy just in the fact that he's super transparent and like just kind of owns the weird things that people call him out on for. So I appreciate that fact. And he took it deep this weekend. I think it was 14 under on the weekend. Like, that's no joke, like he birdied 2 of his last 3. And I think like 4 of his last 6 to win by 1. And, a birdie on the last is always a good way to close out a tournament, on the tee box, knowing he needed a birdie and going out there and doing it, it's not the hardest hole in the world, but to be able to, to just have all that kind of pressure coming down on you. And it's one of the harder driving holes on tour. It's like pretty tight with the kind of dogleg left and some bunkers out there, but just really impressive stuff out of him. And I'm a big Kevin Na guy the last few years, as opposed to kind of where he was with me 5-10 years ago when he was not the most tolerable guy to watch.
No, I was just going to say the same thing. Dude can golf, and he was one of those players I didn't really like as much back then, but as time has gone on, he's grown on me as a player. I think he's become more likable on tour, I feel. And I wasn't as involved a couple of years ago with this game, and I didn't know as much about him, but definitely a player that, he's fun to watch golf, and he's very creative. And like we were saying, he can just get the ball in the hole without a doubt. So I'm looking forward to continue to watch him.
Yeah, no, Kevin Na was great this weekend. Beat a couple really good players and a couple good stories too. Neiman tied for 2nd. So 2 weeks in a row, 2nd place.
Yeah. He's on a heater right now. His last, honestly, ever since he came out with kind of playing for, it's his nephew or cousin that has a really rare disease, and he's kind of raising money to try to get some kind of really ridiculous or nuanced kind of trial surgery kind of medication thing that's super, super expensive. He's just been like, I forget what tournament he started at. I should have done a little more research before this, but he kind of pledged like, hey, my winnings are going right to this. Like, he's like, I'm 20 years old. I think he's 20 or 21. Yeah. He's like, I'm super young. I'm going to make plenty of money in this game. But like right now, like my cousin needs it. So super good story there. And he's, ever since he's done that, I think it gave him a little extra purpose or a little motivation, whatever it is, because the results have been unreal. I mean, he's like T2 this week, T3 last week, really in the mix all the way to the end, really gutty performance out of him the last, throughout the fall series and the last few weeks here in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's a great story. And then the other guy that finished 2nd this week, Chris Kirk, might be a better story. The guy he's been very candid about his struggles with alcohol and been sober for a while now, and went from having absolutely no status, was playing on a major medical in his last start to get full status on the PGA Tour. And if you kind of do a little research and read into his story over the last few years, he took time away from golf with kind of there was nothing from the PGA Tour saying, hey, when you get back, you'll have full status or anything like that. And he's a guy that's won on the PGA Tour a handful of times, and left with no status and did what was right for him. And, you know, it's interesting how things come back to you and karma plays in that way. And really excited for Chris Kirk to be a full member of the PGA Tour and see what he does moving forward.
Yeah, it's crazy how he had to go back through Q School, Corn Ferry, all that stuff, get through. And like I said, on his last start of his major medical, had to get T3 or better this week, I think, or like a 4-way tie for third or better, something like that. And, you know, so that's looming over your head. You play well enough the first 3 days to even be in that conversation. Bogey 2 of your first 3 holes on Sunday after the course average on Saturday was 66, and burn it down your last 15 holes to get that T2. That's an awesome story. And like you said, another guy was just super transparent about, you know, the issues he was having, took a time away from golf without a real plan to get back to golf. And it's awesome to see that kind of come full circle and him to get his full status back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And on a little lighter note, I think Hawaii offered us a couple interesting videos and kind of tidbits from the weekend too. I thought my favorite one was, and I think I saw it on Instagram, was guy was taking dry hacks with like an oar, like out there. So he was on the beach taking dry hacks, and that just epitomizes someone who loves playing golf and kind of feeling what it feels like to swing a golf club. Fontaine, where's the most ridiculous place that you've taken dry hacks?
Yeah, I wish it was where this guy was taking it. It looked pretty nice. He was on the paddleboard on, you know, island of Hawaii, one of the islands, I don't know, whatever. It looked pretty nice. Mine's not as exotic, but I mean, I've taken swings in the line at, you know, restaurants, or like ordering food at like a hot table, or, you know, shout out Western Mass, anybody knows hot table what it is, but you know, hot table, or like even at work in the office, if I know I'm playing either that weekend, the next day, and I'm in work on Friday, you know, kind of looking at some takeaway stuff, you know, really diving into the golf swing. So definitely respect that guy's hustle there, and, you know, get off the paddleboard and get some dry hacks in as soon as possible. Try and elongate that swing with the oar versus a golf club.
What about you, Joseph? Are you taking swings in the pro shop pretty much every day?
Yeah, I mean, that's literally what I do all day at work. You can ask. I mean, it's not even dry hacks. I just take a golf club and rehearse my swing. But I mean, I want to say I can think of the craziest spot I've done it, because besides work, I practice dry hacks anywhere. But I mean, just trying to think of some of like the more weird things I've done it with. Like, I'm pretty sure I've tried it with an oar. I've tried it, you know, like a rake when I'm out doing leaves, something like that. I've done it with like a bunker rake just because I'm out on the course and there was one there. So I've done it with like umbrella. I mean, if it's long enough to like act as a golf club, I would practice swinging it just to try to see what it's like. So, I mean, yeah, I've tried it all. I feel like it's nuts, but it's that addiction that we all have.
Grind doesn't sleep. Grind
No,
doesn't stop.
no, grind never stops.
Yeah, and I'm very much on board with you guys on this as well, right? Like last night I was rolling out, you know, working on my fitness, watching the Tiger documentary part 2, and once I finished rolling out, I just grabbed the roller and I took a couple dry hacks and right in the windows, where it was a little bit mirror like, so just, you know, looking at the angle of my shoulders and everything coming down, making sure that I wasn't getting too steep. So just always working on our swing, always be golfing.
Always be golfing.
Always be golfing.
That was like I remember how funny that was. I think that was for my junior year and your guys' senior year at school. And Judge would always be like, always be golfing, him and the ROTC kids. So
I haven't talked to Judge in years.
Yeah. So that made me think about it.
That's funny.
But from one you know, pretty spectacular place to the other, and we're not quite at the PGA Tour yet. We're heading over to Abu Dhabi for the HSBC Golf Championship over there at Abu Dhabi Golf Club. Unbelievable field this week. We got pretty much the top of the top when it comes to players. Excited for this week, a little more primetime golf just because it is over there in the Middle East. So an opportunity to watch kind of late at night or early in the morning. You know, Not that we're going to bars or anything right now, but if you decide you want to stay up late and watch a little golf at, 1, 2, 3 in the morning, we have that opportunity this week. So it's a lot of fun. Matt, what do you know about the HSB Golf Championship over there, outside of the fact that there's just, millions and millions of dollars just like, hanging out over there? It's just probably the richest place in the world.
Yeah, I know it's got, like you said, a lot of money in there, and the field and the purse and like the clubhouse of, like, just saw a picture of it, looked up real quick. All of it just looks money. I mean, the people they're bringing in for this tournament, like Justin Thomas from Hawaii to Abu Dhabi, like, Rory, they got a lot of really big name guys out there, especially from the European side, like Tommy Fleetwood, all those guys, Justin Rose, kind of kickstarting their years on the European tour, and, kind of passing on the Hawaii swing and a little starting to get into California with the American Express and all that stuff here stateside. But really looking forward to seeing, different time zone golf and some of these bigger name guys like Rory kind of get out there and get their season started. Saw like a pretty interesting post by Justin Rose today, like putting a disclaimer out there that he's basically not going to play well this week, with like, like looking forward to get started in Abu Dhabi, like long 24-hour, travel schedule just got in, like all this stuff. It was kind of weird. So I was interested to see how he plays this week with like the passive aggressive, like, this travel sucks Instagram post leading up to the day before the tournament. But looking forward to seeing, some big names from the European side get started, as well as like JT made the trip over there, and, some other guys that we're used to seeing stateside.
Yeah, no, it's going to be an exciting week. It's funny you brought up that Justin Rose post. Kind of made me think back on what I used to say on a Friday practice, right? Like, coach, you're not going to get 100% out of me. It's, it was a rough Thursday night. I saw Matt there too, so he's probably not in the best shape.
That Patty's long, coach. Sorry.
So, we're probably gonna suck it up and birdie the first hole, but then once you can't see us anymore, we're gonna dog it a little bit. It'll be under 40 on the front nine, but it won't be pretty. Yeah. So that kind of jogged my memory on that as well. But as far as who we like this week, Joseph, who do you like here at the HSBC Golf Championship?
Give me the rat. Kiradech Appy Barnrat making his season debut. You heard it here first. Book it, mark it, do whatever you got. Kiradech Appy Barnrat will win this tournament, and I have all the confidence in the world in him.
How many vape pens does he go through this weekend?
What's that?
How many vape pens does he go through this weekend?
Dude, he probably just has an unlimited supply in his bag.
Just you got a sponsorship with one of those companies that's just like a vape pen guy?
If he wasn't already, I mean, he'd be making even more money. Yeah. He's one of a kind, many people, I don't know if many people have heard, but he has been called the Asian John Daly. So just look out for him. That's all I'm going to say. Kid's got a future on tour. So look out.
Joseph's going with the rat. Mr. Fontaine, who you like this week?
I'm going Rory. I'm Rory, like, fangirl. Like, I think when he's at the peak of his game, like, there's nothing more fun to watch outside of Tiger. Obviously, that's, the one and only. But if I were to pick, like, my second favorite, it's Rory. For, like, when he plays well, the shots he hits and the way he wins, it's just, like, dominance. It's Tiger-esque. Like, winning the U.S. Open at Congressional, I think that one was, where he won by, like, 11, and, like, running, like, the way he won at the back nine at Valhalla, and, just really the way he wins is just really fun to watch. It seems to always be pretty, it always seems to have a really good, like, story to it. It's not just like, oh, he ended up squeaking it out with a birdie on the last. It's always got, like, a punctuation to it. Like, it's always a really big win. And, you can read into a little bit more of that with the blog we're posting up this week. I wrote a little bit on Rory and, his outlook on 2021 for his standards, I would assume, is a disappointing 2020, especially with the start he got off to pre-COVID with, like, I don't know, 5 top 6s in a row or something ridiculous like that, where it seemed like he just couldn't close the door. I think 2021 with the, the birth of his daughter and kind of resetting after the weird COVID season, shortened season, and having a full off season to kind of get his mind back to where it needs to be, I think he's just going to come out firing. I think DJ playing as well as he did to end last year kind of, like, re-motivated him to be like, hey, like, you used to be the guy that when you had your A game, you were unbeatable. I'm pretty sure that's DJ now. So like, go prove yourself kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's the angle I'm taking or hoping for, at least, because I'm a big Rory guy. So I'm going Rory this week. I think he's ready to just kind of kick off 21 with a bang and really, play well with this West Coast swing and, start getting the majors going again, because he hasn't been there in the last few years.
Yeah, nothing like watching Rory McIlroy hit drives on the shot tracer. Like that is, there's nothing better. Another guy who is pretty fun to watch when the tracer gets out is Eric's pick for the week, Tommy Fleetwood. 30th birthday earlier this week, luscious locks. Like just he's a nice looking dude, and he's excited to be in Dubai. So Eric with the pick of Tommy Fleetwood.
I hope Tommy Fleetwood plays good this year. I think I was watching, like New Year's, Christmas, but before the Hawaii stuff starts, they just show every tournament from last year's final round on Golf Channel. I was watching him at, I think it was the Honda when Sanjay beat him, coming down the stretch there, and it's just like, damn, like he's so close. And like that, they talked about the whole back nine was him winning his first PGA Tour event, because it's like he hasn't won over here stateside yet, and it's just like they completely jinxed him. So I'm team Tommy. I think I love watching him play. Hate playing against him in Ryder Cups, because him and Francesco were an absolute problem in France in 2018. But big Tommy guy. I hope he plays really, really good. I think he strikes the shit out of the ball and is due to really get more in the mix in some of these bigger tournaments and hopefully some majors coming up.
Agreed.
And my pick for the week, I am going with the only way I can really describe this guy is he's a German machine. Not a German driving machine, not a BMW, but I'm talking about Martin Keimer. Kind of the reawakening of Bernhard Langer, just 40 years younger. Guy that's won 2 majors, but it's been 7 years since he's won a major. But I think he's due. He played some good golf last year, and I was really high on him last year in a couple of the majors, and he disappointed me. So
didn't one of them, he came out firing first day, was right up in the mix and shot like 80 the second day or something crazy like that?
Yeah, I both at the PGA and also at the US Open, he kind of started off decent and then struggled down the stretch, but I definitely like what I saw in his game. And the reason why I say that was I'm a big fan of watching the European Tour early in the morning. And I saw one random morning, Martin Keimer was just getting after it and making a bunch of birdies. So definitely, got a little an idea in my brain that Martin Keimer is going to have a good year. And it also got me thinking, as far as one of my favorite things being getting up and watching the European Tour in the morning. So what we're going to do here at Bogey Proof, everybody listen out here, I want you guys to go and find us on Twitch, Bogey Proof at Twitch.com. And we're going to be streaming the Euro Tour on Sunday mornings. I'm going to use chefing up some breakfast. Send us DMs on Instagram and Twitter. Tell me what you want to make. We definitely have a little bit of a set recipe for some of the more exotic locations. Like when we go to Kenya, of course, we're doing fresh, like French press Kenyan coffee. Like there's no way around it. But a place like Abu Dhabi, where there's not anything too specific, send us a direct message and tell me what you want to cook up. Think I know the basics in the kitchen pretty well, and willing to kind of definitely go outside the box if you guys have something. So send us a message. I'll go pick up the stuff at the store, and we'll hop on Twitch for a couple hours and have a good time. So when you get out of bed, just throw us on, and we'll put out an Instagram post with a little more detail and the link to our Twitch later in the week. So be on a lookout for that. Matt, what would if you could choose? I know our viewers are probably going to have some good insight on this and give us what we want. But if you could choose what we're having for breakfast this Sunday, what would I be chefing up?
Ooh, I love breakfast. Breakfast, especially on the weekends when you have time to do it right and you're not like just trying to eat something before work. Big breakfast guy. I love going. There's a little diner around here I love going to. If I'm going, my like go-to, especially if I'm watching golf in the morning, that's like a perfect weekend morning for me. I'm gonna make some kind of omelet. Usually kind of basic, kind of like a Western guy, just like a couple peppers, onions, ham in there. some like maybe pepper jack cheese to spice it up a bit, something like that, with just really good breakfast potatoes and some nice toast. I'm very simple, but there's nothing better when you get that all done the right way. I hope our listeners out there challenge Mike. I want him making some weird shit in this kitchen for breakfast. Like have him make some crepes or like something. Don't just have him make eggs. Make them work a little bit on the Twitch stream. All right. But and then obviously alongside that, my order, I'm always going with a coffee. And once dry January ends, I'll probably make that coffee. Have a little bit of booze in there, a little Bailey's or Jameson. I don't know, something. But I'm more of a like spiked coffee or Irish coffee guy as opposed to Bloody Marys. I feel like you guys might be Bloody Mary guys, or a lot of our listeners will be. I feel like everybody's a Bloody Mary guy, but me, I'm always kind of the outlier, and I'm like, I'm good when we're playing those early weekend rounds in the summer and everybody's getting a bloody at the turn or something like that. I'm more like, I'm good. I'll just stick to the beer or something else. But Joey, what's your go-to breakfast and potential breakfast cocktail if the opportunity presents itself?
Also a huge breakfast guy. Most important meal of the day. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. For going out for a nice, I've never made it myself. I need to, because it's my ultimate favorite, which is eggs Benedict. Ooh. I've yet to try it myself. I'm sure I could do it. Seems easy enough, but it's like one of those delicacies. You're like, I'll save that for the chef to make me a nice eggs Benedict, and it makes it a little more special every time you have it. But if I'm ever cooking breakfast, I'm on the same page as you, Fontaine. I'm more of a omelet guy. I like chefing up a nice little buffalo chicken omelet. So get some little buffalo chicken cold cut that up in there. Maybe a little blue cheese crumble with some hot sauce. Very good. Underrated. I can make you one day.
Cold cuts in the omelets is a bananas take for your go-to breakfast on a Sunday morning.
Dude, it's whenever I make an omelet, that's probably the omelet I'm making.
Boy, oh boy.
It's not bad.
Don't take some tips from Mike in our new breakfast series. You might need to take some detailed notes, my friend.
Dude, I can make you one. Trust me, you'll love it.
For the listeners out there, please send us things so I don't have to make a buffalo chicken omelet.
Knocking on the buffalo chicken omelet.
If it had like real shredded chicken or something, like I'd be down. But like just taking buffalo chicken cold cuts and slapping them in some eggs is not. Like,
you cut them up nice and neat. You get some nice. Trust me, man. I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this for years.
You're also the guy that got me to drink vodka Mios in college, so I don't know if your recipes are necessarily recipes for success.
I'm telling you, man.
They work. They're not exactly like.
I am the unacclaimed breakfast king, right? Self-proclaimed. I'm sorry. Self-proclaimed breakfast king.
Definitely unacclaimed.
No. Self-proclaimed. That was the wrong word. But shout out to Water and Mios. Huh? What a move that was. No, as far as my breakfast drink goes, I love me a good screwdriver here and there, or a nice mimosa, but I am on that same page, a nice little spiked coffee type idea. Hate Bloody Marys, so I'm on the same page with you there, Fontaine.
All right.
Michael, what is your normal, probably bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich? And you guys aren't exotic for a nice buffalo chicken omelet. Jesus Christ. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm like Fontaine. I'm pretty simple. I think good toast is a great way to start. I'm a big multi-grain guy. Love sourdough.
Big bagel guy on the record.
I do like bagels as well. But a nice rye from a local bakery with a shit ton of butter on it. That stuff is good.
Get the butter wheel going.
Get the butter wheel going. I might have to purchase one of those. If any listener out there has a butter wheel, feel free to DM me and I will send you my address and you can send that my way. And as anything basic, I'm not the biggest egg person. I do like a good omelet or a nice scramble or something. So yeah, I think just cooking up some onions and peppers, maybe throw some crumbled bacon in there, or some nice like Italian breakfast sausage or something like that. I think is always a good start. Especially if you've been drinking the night before. I think something with a little extra fat in there that sausage soaks it up nicely. I'm not the biggest breakfast cocktail person,
really,
but I do drink a lot of coffee, and this drink that I have tonight with the Knob Creek smoked maple would probably be fantastic in a nice coffee.
Oh, yeah.
So I might do that. So come in on Sunday morning and watch me on Twitch, and hopefully a couple of the other staff members will hop in and have a good time, and maybe I'll have a maple ice coffee with this Knob Creek.
There you go.
But definitely looking forward to Sunday. It should be a good time, and we're open to suggestions, whatever you guys want to see. Happy to be ridiculous. It's Sunday morning. People are just kind of hanging out. We want to have a good time.
Happy to be ridiculous.
And as far as also being ridiculous this week, the LPGA Tour, not the normal players on the LPGA Tour, because they're studs. We got a great field at the Diamond Resorts Tournament of Champions, but we got a Pro-Am this week, and we have ridiculous human beings all up and down this list. We have Larry the Cable Guy, Brian Urlacher, who has hair now, which is what, yeah. So, we'll see him. Hopefully he's not wearing a hat. He probably won't because he wants to show off that he has hair. And then also we have Urban Meyer in the field, the newest coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, correct?
Yep. Jaguars. Sorry. Titans.
So,
settle down, Titans guy. I don't think you need to worry about the Jaguars anytime soon. You'll be all right.
I just don't like them.
So Joey will not be watching the Diamond Resorts Tournament of Champions strictly because of Urban Meyer's presence. But excited to watch the golf course. I think it's an interesting one. Matt, where is it located in Florida?
We're in Lake Buena Vista, Florida this weekend at the Tranquilo Golf Course at the Four Seasons Resort. 6,600 yards, par 71. Love a par 71. They usually get the scores nice and low. It's like a bit of a home game. I think a lot of players, both PGA Tour and LPGA Tour, obviously reside in Florida. So that always helps if you're, kind of near the place you're playing tournament at, sleep in your own bed, don't have to pack and travel and sleep in a hotel bed and have crazy commutes. It's much easier to sleep in your own bed, wake up a little earlier and drive to the course in your own car too. Like all those little things kind of add up to the overall mental state of where you're at in a golf tournament. So, if anybody's out there looking to make some picks for LPGA Tour, I think Lydia Ko lives extremely close to this golf course, or at least in the area. And she's also quite the player herself. And I don't know if she even needs the advantage, but when you get them, you got to use them. So I think Lydia Ko is going to have a pretty good week this week. And pretty much anybody else that lives in Florida. It's like, it just makes the life so much easier, I think.
It's a pretty standard Florida golf course from what I'm remembering, but exciting. Some gettable par fives, some nice par threes with some water involved. So excited to watch this week and just excited to have LPGA Tour golf back. I think we as a group watched a lot more LPGA Tour golf the last 3-4 months than we ever had before, and I've been itching for it since the U.S. Women's Open and the CME Tour Championship. So excited for them to be back and watch some of the girls out there play.
What do you think goes on with the conversations between like Larry the Cable Guy and an LPGA Tour player? Like where is their common ground besides golf? What do they talk about? Like it's one thing with the PGA Tour guys. I don't know. They can talk sports or football or something, right? Like I don't know. But like, what is Lydia Ko and John Smoltz going to talk about this week if they're playing together? Like I don't know. Like I'm interested to see the dynamic and how all that works out. I'm interested to see that.
What were you going to say, Joe? Sorry.
I just said mic them up.
Yeah.
I think the pro athletes are a little bit easier. Like John Smoltz will have a lot to talk about just because he's played sports at a high level and they can talk about what it takes to be great. I agree, though. A guy like Larry the Cable Guy, hopefully they give him a good pairing.
Yeah.
But then again, he's a comedian and he probably connects with every single person he's ever chatted with. And who knows, maybe that's what, a young girl on the LPGA Tour needs to kind of just like
loosen up a little
bit. And next thing you know, we have a new winner on the LPGA Tour. So, hey, I didn't do much research this week, but we'll see who he's paired with. And that might be a flyer pick for the week. So, Matt, could you tell everyone, listen here, how else they can follow Bogey Proof on our different socials?
Yeah, of course. We got Bogey Proof tweets on Twitter, usually run by me. Everybody else kind of chimes in here and there, but if anything Tiger comes out of there, just assume that's out of me and don't judge the others for the integrity of that post. I will own that. Instagram, Bogey Proof Graham. We have our site, bogeyproofblog.com, where you can see kind of, YouTube videos and some more of the write-ups or blogs that, we're kind of referring to with the Rory stuff. And I think Mike and myself are going to do a little piece on the Tiger Woods doc that came out concluded this past week as well. So, be sure to look there. And then YouTube channel, Bogey Proof. And then, as Mike mentioned earlier, we got our Twitch that's going to be going live this Sunday with Mike making breakfast for us all with Bogey Proof Twitch. And then, our podcast is out on Spotify, Apple Music, I think Amazon and iHeartRadio or something like that. Mike mentioned last week too. So just be sure to, consume us in whatever way you want. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can listen to us obviously through the pods, but we have the videos that go up with all of them on the YouTube, and, a lot more future content to come with some of the stuff we talked about in the last week's episode.
Yeah. Be sure to give a listen and a follow to that Twitter and that Instagram and YouTube, and give us a little reading on that blog. I think we got some exciting stuff for 2021 on the way, just producing a bunch of different content and kind of layering it over all our different vessels there. So yeah, exciting stuff. And as far as the golf this week, I know we chatted European Tour and LPGA Tour and did a little recap of last week in Hawaii, but this week we're going down to Coachella Valley, Palm Springs area, Southern California, just east of Los Angeles, to the American Express. So playing at La Quinta Country Club, PGA West. It's going to be a fun few days down there. Absolutely no wind is usually the forecast for this place. So that's the scores are really pretty low because of that. I think there was one year where we had Patrick Reed come out and shoot 63 to start the first 3 rounds. And at that point they played the tournament on three different golf courses. So he shot 63 on 3 different golf courses to start the week. And I think he shot like 1 under the day for day 4 and still just absolutely dominated.
They still play on different courses?
They do play. I think they do play at three separate courses, at least 2 separate. I think they play La Quinta Country Club and then 2 of the PGA West courses.
Yeah.
So excited. It's an opportunity for us to see a few different types of golf courses. It leads to some interesting coverage is kind of my take on it, because they're kind of always hopping back and forth between the different courses. I think they try to do their best to stay at PGA Tour, like at PGA West, but right, if you have someone who's in the lead and they're playing La Quinta Country Club, you kind of got to follow them.
Yeah.
So it definitely leads itself to some interesting coverage, and kind of have to have your head on a swivel when it comes to watching golf this week. But that's all right, because our listeners love golf and they're just going to take it all in. But defending champion Andrew Landry, I think that tells us a little bit about the type of player that can win here. We've really had the gamut, right? We've had John Rahm win here. We've had Jason Day win. Patrick Reed, like I said before. Brian Gay has won here in the past as well. Like, we have short hitters, we have long hitters. Really, honestly, anybody kind of could win this week. Matt, who do you like this week, knowing that really there's no formula or kind of ideal tempo player for winning the American Express?
Yeah, I like Matthew Wolff this week. I don't think the field is quite as strong as something like we're seeing over in the European Tour side. And, I think one of probably the highest ranked guy might be Patrick Reed, I want to say, or unless Brooks is still ahead of him in the rankings. But Brooks is coming off year last year with some injuries and whatnot. So I'm going to go with Matt Wolff here. I think, he really showed that he's got a game that, can transfer, really play anywhere with his performance in the majors last year. He kind of has just been known as like a big hitter, but I think last year really kind of found some form and started playing good in some big tournaments. I think he won the 3M, right, which isn't the biggest tournament in the world, and was kind of quiet the rest of his rookie year. So I think last year was a big year for him, and I think he kind of takes that next step and really kicks this year off with a bang with a good win at a pretty interesting tournament based on the different courses and stuff like that. I think he plays with such really good attitude and good energy when you see him out there, and I think he's got a good shot to take it home this week.
Yeah, he was fun to watch the U.S. Open this year, and then also at the PGA. Yeah. Nice to see him come out and play his game in the biggest tournaments of the year. So agree, right? The big time players, sometimes they play down competition in these tournaments, but I don't think Matt Wolff at 21 or 22 or whatever he is really a candidate for that. come out here. He's a Southern California kid. I would expect him to play well as well.
Yeah.
Joseph, who do you like?
As we kind of were talking about before, I like Patrick Reed. He's got a decent history here. I don't know. I was just feeling like Patrick Reed. I know a lot of people kind of dislike him, but I've always liked P. Reed, and I've stuck with him, even though, you know, the incidents that he has had in the past couple of years with the cheating scandal and whatever it may be. But I don't know. I just look past it, and I kind of like Patrick Reed, and I like how the tour kind of has that villain now, and everyone kind of sees him as that villain. And I think the PGA Tour kind of needs somebody like that, and he's just another dude who knows how to golf. Like he's a solid player, and I really enjoy watching him play. He can get creative with it, and you know, I think this is a course that kind of, you know, obviously we know it already suits him, so I just think it's, you know, to his advantage at this point. So I'm very excited to kind of see what he can do this week. And Michael, who are you going with?
First off, Joe, I like that pick. He's a showman. It's what it is. Like, and I don't know if it's because he just like needs to do it to be successful with those like helicopter finishes trying to hit cuts, or if he's like the most disingenuous person to ever walk the face of the earth. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, but I think it's tough to deny that he's a great player.
He's a lot better of a guy that people think he is. I think it's his wife that is controlling everything that makes him so crazy.
I think he embraces the villain role though too, like you said. Like I think he likes that me against the world, like fuck all you guys kind of thing. Like I think he loves taking that thing on. I think Brooks did it for a little while with being like the guy that was so candid in interviews, like, oh, majors are easy, you guys all stink. And then as Brooke kind of sucked himself last year, P. Reed kind of really stepped up with all the kind of the incidents like you referred to. And then he backed it up with some really good play last year. I mean, I don't know if he actually won it all last year, but he was in the mix in a lot of different tournaments. He was right there in the U.S. Open all the way until like that Saturday back nine. But he can play. I mean, like he finished top 5 in the race to Dubai on the European Tour side last year. He just knows how to get the ball in the hole. He putts really well and kind of just makes it happen. Like you said, it's no glaringly like really, really awesome part of his game that he does light years better than everybody else, except for maybe putting. But he just gets the ball in the hole. And he's a good player.
He won the WGC Mexico.
Oh, he won Mexico last year.
That's why, because we didn't really have a lot of big tournaments that crossed over to European Tour. That's why he was like on top of that leaderboard for all that time, because WGC counts towards European Tour. Yeah. But yeah, Patrick he's fun to watch. I think it's always exciting to watch him chip, because he's either gonna hole it out or he's gonna snap the club over his knee.
Yeah.
So like I think that's
Pebble Beach.
like that's always fun to watch. And next thing you know, he's got a chip with his 9-iron because he's broke half his clubs. So yeah, excited to watch Patrick Reed this week, and another person I'd expect to be pretty high on the leaderboard at the end of the week. We'll go to Eric's pick here. Eric went with a young gun, just like Matt did. He went with Scotty Scheffler, someone I would definitely expect to win this year on tour.
Yeah.
RIP to the 3-wood though. For those that don't know, Scotty Scheffler had a 3-wood that he used for 10 plus years, an old Nike one. And it's been documented by the PGA Tour that he's grieving the loss of his 3-wood. So we're going to see how that new Callaway performs under the pressure.
So long ago, remember that?
Yeah, Stenson used to have that like old Diablo 3-wood.
Yeah,
Man, that was a bad club. That thing looked like you couldn't do anything but hook the shit out of it. It was such a closed face. That was a bad club. But he hit that thing 290 on a rope for like 7 years straight.
That's nuts. Absolutely nuts. Who's your pick, Mikey?
My pick, I would say I'm going back to the well. Similar like you did, Joe, and pick someone who's won here before. I'm going Brian Gay, winner of the Bermuda Championship this year. Some of the worst outfits known to man. He's rocking G4. Wedge game is great. I can't remember what year he won, but back in the mid 2000s, I would say at this point, or early 2010 range, but great wedge player. And I think someone like him, not that there's really a template player for winning this tournament, but a similar player to Andrew Lander, who won here last year. someone who hits it close with the short irons and makes a bunch of putts. So excited to watch Brian Gay this week and bury you guys all in the Bogey Proof picks.
He won something again recently, didn't he, Brian Gay?
Yeah, Bermuda Championship, brother.
In the fall. It's in that fall series stuff.
Yeah.
You think he won in the playoff too, if I remember correctly, or something coming down the stretch. I don't know if it was actually.
He did win a playoff because he birdied 18 and then birdied the playoff hole too.
Okay.
Dude, I'll never forget. So Brian Gay, fun little story. Not really. I mean, it's about him, but so when I was at the the PGA Championship at Bethpage, we were on, I want to say it was hole number 9, something like that. I think he was like 10 over. He was playing terrible. And we were just walking by him and you could just see how fucking pissed off that he was. So you could just, you didn't really say anything to him. You just knew to stay out of his way. And then the next day he ended up withdrawing. So always had that in the back of my head about him. So it never sat right with me. He could have just said hi to me, but whatever. It is what it is. I guess I understand.
Got bigger fish to fry, getting his ass kicked. By that
He's trying to make millions. I'm just trying to say hi. Whatever.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll put, once he wins this week, Joe, maybe we'll like put a picture on the Instagram or something, you giving him a nice wave or something like that. And really congratulating him for a great week here and at the American Express. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, excited for this week. A lot of good golf to watch, both prime time and a little bit later in the day as well. And a lot of awesome things to come here in 2021 for Bogey Proof. So appreciate you boys hopping on here and cheers me with those waters.
Cheers.
Salute.
Take it easy.